Hey, I'm here with a list of demands. Follow the show wherever you listen. Subscribe, share, like, and comment on the show on YouTube. Follow any and all of my social media as well. All of the links are in the description. And finally, if you're a real fan, which most of you aren't, head on over to buymeacoffee.com, use the link in my description, and buy me a goddamn coffee. It supports the show, which is me. So you're supporting me. Now that you've successfully ignored that, go ahead and enjoy today's episode. So the other day, I walk into my parents' basement, which is, of course, connected to the garage. And the garage door of my parents' house is typically open when somebody's home. Because my dad will, from time to time, go outside, do some work, come back in the house, relax, or whatever. The door's just open. And then that's the big garage door. And then you get in the garage, and there's a door that goes into the basement. And that one is also usually open because if people aren't there, then they just close the garage door. Nobody's going to get in. So I came by on a Sunday evening. This was, I think, 2 weeks ago. It was a Sunday evening. The sun is still out. It's starting to set, but not really. It's like, 4 in the afternoon, 4:30. Sun's still out. Beautiful day. And my parents' basement is really dark, like most basements are. But it's usually dark in there because my dad has a big, huge television. And he just sits there in the dark and watches TV even in the daytime because there's no point to have the lights. The lights are really big. They're like those long lights, the long bulbs. I forget what they're called. You smash people on the back with them in WWE. Those are real fluorescent, so there's no real reason to have them on. But anyway, it's dark. It's dark in there. And I came by unannounced, and I walked in, and my dad on his big 63-inch television with the sound bar, like an expensive sound bar. Like it could be loud. This particular time it wasn't loud, but he did have the sound bar on, huge TV, watching porn. Watching pornography on his he knows how to live. He knows exactly, why is my nose so itchy? He knows exactly how to live, how to make it happen. Sitting in the dark, the sun's still out. I walk in, big fucking filthy porn on the television. And my dad wasn't expecting anybody. So he starts going, oh, whoa, oh, who's there? Ooh, oh. And he's got like 4 remotes. One for the sound bar, one for the illegal streaming device, one for the television, one for this, one for the... So he's like fumbling with them, trying to get it off the screen. Oh, wait a second, wait a minute, hold on, wait a second. And then he ended up pausing it, and like the channels showed up on the side, so the screen got smaller, and most of it was the channels, but you could still see where he paused it on, up in the right corner. And there were these 2 girls on top of each other kissing. They got like cum all over their face. It was hilarious, and I walked around and I was like, "Oh, how you doing?" He's like, "Oh, sorry about that." He felt mad bad, but it was just hilarious. And then I went upstairs, and later I talked to my mom, and then later on after that, we were sitting down at the table, all of us just talking, having coffee, whatever. And my dad's like, "What are you doing down here?" And I'm like, "Oh, I got a show tonight." And he's like, "Oh, and you're not going?" Looking at my mom. She says, "No, I don't want to go alone." And then he's like, "All right, me and you, we'll go. What time is it at?" And my mom goes, "Oh, he's going to swear." And he goes, "Oh, no, forget it. No, I don't want to go." Because growing up, my dad has these, my dad always had, as a kid, all parents, I feel, are like this. They give you leeway with certain words, but they don't want to hear you saying, "Suck my fucking dick, you big fat cunt." That's, I get it. And my parents know what I'm trying to do, and they listen to the clips I put on Instagram or whatever else. They know I'm an animal. And my mom doesn't care, but my dad, whatever. But it's just funny, the comparison, right? Like, he was watching this filthy porn downstairs, and he would feel uncomfortable if he went to a show where his son is swearing on a stage. It was just funny. It was hilarious. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for tuning into the show. I apologize for Monday. I had a busy fucking weekend at work, and I wasn't able to put the new setup together, but it is here. As you can see, I like it. I like it like this. I'm going to be getting a fucking mic stand for this, so I'm going to hold on to it. It's a little weird holding on to it when I have a table now. So hopefully that comes in soon. And we're going to hopefully be having some guests here and there. Before I move in April, I would like to have some more comedians on just to build like a, kind of a piece of something that's there and kind of a symbol of our friendship and relationship and whatever the fuck. That was just a long, drawn-out, pretentious version of saying networking. That's pretty much what I wanted to say, and I apologize for making you sit through those painful 7 seconds of me trying to get that out. No, it's really just a network and get them on here and know that if they're having shows out here or whatever, I got no problem. As long as I'm going to be in New York, and that's where the move is hopefully happening. And we're getting closer and closer. It's exciting. I'm happy for that. And if it's not there, I'm happy for leaving this state anyway, for sure. Like, it's going to be good. We're already in November. Who knew? We got the next holiday coming up. It wouldn't be an episode without me shitting on the soon-to-come holiday. Lush Ice. That's what we got today. Lush Ice flavor. It tastes like watermelon gum. Like if you bought some watermelon Orbit or something. Trident. That's what it is. Watermelon Trident. You hit that thing, it's great. But yes, get on down to the grocery store and get 2 carts full of everything you can fucking find because it is I went food shopping yesterday and it was mobbed. It was fucking early. It was like 11:30 in the afternoon. Who the fuck is shopping at that time? Why are there so many people here? I forgot. It's November. As soon as November starts, the new stress creeps in, right? Each month, some new stress kind of pushes us along, pushes us through it. Just to get us through it, we got to be stressed the whole time. And now, it's food. You got to get food. They got deals right now. You're going to get good deals on prime rib and produce and everything. Everything is just a little cheaper right now because they know the supply is high. The supply is, when you have little economics for you, when the supply is high, the prices are low. So they know that right now is a monumental time for eating and cooking and drinking and shitting. I'm sure if you looked at the price of toilet paper, it's probably a little cheaper because there's so much more of it being used in this time. That's why this is the busy season for restaurants and the service industry. This is busy time because people are out and about buying and selling. I got a prosciutto. Let me buy a fucking half a turkey or some shit. People going back and forth, trading in the streets like barters. Wait a second. Well, hold on. Guys arguing back and forth. It looks like a goddamn Muay Thai event with a bunch of guys screaming with fucked up teeth, with yellow white papers in their hands that seem to be betting slips, just waving them around. Hey, well, wait a second. I got 35 on the blueberries. We got to get the cream corn. Like, people just in the streets going crazy. That's what happens in this time. So from the beginning of the month, you got to start planning. You got to start figuring out who's bringing this, who's doing what.
You know, what are we gonna make this year? Everyone really liked the yams last year. Those were big hits, so we're gonna have to do those, but maybe add a little something else. I want to be a little creative. I don't want to put myself in a box. I don't want to be known as the marshmallow yam guy at the event at the office Friendsgiving. I don't want that to happen. I need to have a little flavor. I need a little something else. And then you check out a recipe and you spend extra money on it and you spend time trying to make it right and you bring it there and nobody even looks at it. Everyone's like, bro, where's the yams? You should have made more yams. That's all. The yams are fire. What's the matter with you? What's wrong with you? And you actually have alienated yourself from all of your coworkers and people now. Before, they were all excited because you were the candied yam guy at the Friendsgiving office party, and you didn't do it this time. You ruined some people's days, really. People were looking forward to it, and now it's like, you kind of fuck things up. I got here a little bit late. I thought I'd be able to get some. Why is the pan smaller this year? Why? Because you wanted to make some fucking cheesecake souffle, whatever, some bullshit you made? You're a worthless son of a bitch. Why would you do that? Now you've actually done the inverse of what you wanted. You wanted people to look at you as a little edgy, a little creative, push the boundaries of culinarianism, gastronomy. You want to come there with something great on Thanksgiving. You spent all kind of time researching, this one's good, I can buy this. Oh, they have this at the store. I don't know if I'll be able to find this. Let's try something else. And you try and you want to impress people with what you've made and what you've brought. But you didn't do it this time, Jared. Sorry. Looks like Stacy from accounting isn't going to blow you. Sorry. If you brought the candied yams, you'd be getting head right now. So moral of the story is on Thanksgiving, go simple, go hearty, go with the stuff that's supposed to be there. You can't show up on Thanksgiving with some bullshit experiment. I tried this year. No. That's not Thanksgiving. That's Memorial Day. That's some other, slightly more meaningless holiday, right? You get it. Thanksgiving is solely, it's got to be the shit that's the heavyweight shit. It's the heavyweight shit. And even if you don't do it exactly to the T and you add a little something to your own personal tradition in your family, you can't deviate from it. You can't. Like right now, I'm waiting for my grandmother's stuffing. Stuffing's delicious. It's great. It's one of my favorite things she makes. I wish she would make it at other times, but she only makes it for Thanksgiving. And if she doesn't make that, then I'm throwing a fit. Thanksgiving's ruined, okay? I'm going to be very upset. I'm going to drink a whole bottle of wine and act like a fool in front of my whole family and then stumble down the street with my dick out of my jeans and fall in the cold and sleep there while my kidneys fail. That's what's going to happen if I show up on Thanksgiving and there's no stuffing that my grandmother makes. So, word to the wise, if you're bringing something, if it's your year to host and you don't know what to make, do the basics. Do the basics, make a little pan of stupid, creme brulee or whatever the fuck you want to make, and put it off to the side. Don't advertise it. Oh, that's just a little something I wanted to try. And if it's good, add it next year. But this year, you can't fuck around. You got to go heavyweights. In my family, we never did the turkey because our holidays were always very small because we ourselves have alienated ourselves from the rest of the family, who I have actually grown to dislike as time has gone on. So it makes sense. They got us ready for the future. But it's always just been us, right? My grandparents, my brother, my mom and dad. And then now my grandfather's passed away, so it's even smaller. And she adds a little Italian flair, but she still comes with it. She knows it's not her holiday. It's America. Okay? You can't come in on Thanksgiving being cocky. You can't do that. You got to come with fucking pumpkin pies and pecan pies, cranberry fucking sauce, gravy. My grandmother never uses gravy. Okay, she makes if she makes like a meat, she'll make her own gravy with the drippings, right? She'll add, whatever. She'll make it herself. But on Thanksgiving, she does that plus that bullshit canned gravy. And I use it. Any other time of the year. That shit's disgusting. Why would you ever need gravy for that kind of gravy? That, you know what I'm talking about, that specific gravy. That's made from drippings as well, but the gravy I'm thinking of that my grandmother makes it's more like a jus. It's very thin, and it's not a lot added to it. But that other gravy that you can make from scratch, but most people just use the can, right? The can, you never seen as many canned goods used by civilized people as you will on Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is a time for civilized people who think they've made it in life in some capacity, some facet. They've had the same canned goods for 15 years in the back of their massive walk-in pantry. They don't even bat an eye at it. And then on Thanksgiving, they don't use the stockpile of food that they have in their pantry of canned food. They go out and buy new ones specifically for that day. And a lot of them. Corn and peas and gravy and cranberry sauce and fucking green beans if you make that god-awful green bean casserole. Fucking all that canned shit. It gets used on Thanksgiving. All by people who otherwise are too good for it. But that's a real thing, right? I feel like that's a real observation. People don't want to eat canned shit. They rarely eat canned. I mean, unless you're making like a sauce, you use canned tomatoes. That's one thing. Maybe beans. But the rest, it's like if you're eating canned stuff, it's always associated with being poor and not having money. And if you're having a Thanksgiving, then you're in a position to have some money, right? People who can't afford Thanksgiving, they have to eat the canned shit. They have to do it. You're choosing to do it. You're making a spread of food for a group of people that you love or kind of love, just want them over so that you can stroke your ego by saying, I fed everybody. Look at all the food I made. And everyone goes, oh my God, you're so good. You never stop. When did you start cooking this? And you go, well, I started yesterday. I went from about 6 at night to midnight, and they're like, oh my God. And then I woke up at 5 a.m., started the turkey. So when it came out, it was juicy, and everybody, and you're like, yeah, we put this together. This is fucking great. Look at this. And you do that with canned food. A lot of it. Otherwise, you would never touch. That's just the point. If you couldn't be in a position to go to not even to host, just to go to a Thanksgiving, you'd have to eat canned shit. Or you'd go to a place that's doing it for free, a church, a center, whatever. It's great. It really is great. Thanksgiving, not the worst holiday, not the worst one. It's the food. The food wins. The food is just, that's that middle ground for me where stupid dead people tradition that we've gone as far away from as we possibly can, actually, like really far away, being that story, that story being true, right? It's a good mix of having that and having really good food to eat with it. And the fact that it comes before Christmas, because a lot of the times Christmas food and Thanksgiving food, pretty similar. You could be a little more free with Christmas food, unless, again, a tradition thing. But you could do other things where Thanksgiving kind of has a bit of a set menu. But it comes first, so it's the same shit, right? The Christmas part is the gifts. That's the one that wins. The food's good too, but it's not the highlight. There's no gifts on Thanksgiving. The gift is the food. It's the sitting around. It's the sleeping while you watch football. And the biggest gift of all is waking up the next day hours before the sun is up, standing online in the cold to go buy a television. That's the ultimate gift, right? That's what the natives did after they showed the pilgrims how to grow corn by digging a hole and putting a fish in the ground. That's the story I was told, right? I know a lot of you guys were told that too. The story of the white Christians getting on a boat coming here and meeting up with the natives and being friends with them at first, sitting down, eating, the whole thing. And that's, I hope it's true, but we've definitely gotten pretty far from that, and that's fine. We're supposed to have gotten far from that. Time goes on, but traditions don't change, right? You got to keep those. You got to keep the tradition that got you to the dance, baby. But enough about that. We got some fun stuff. You sick fucks that eat Tyson chicken. Your boy got arrested, okay? Tyson chicken is so bad. I never grew up eating it. Very rarely. I would have chicken nuggets and shit like that. My mom would buy them. But I don't remember it being Tyson. Not saying some other big chicken genocidal corporation wasn't doing the shit that Tyson does as well. I just don't remember Tyson being there. Maybe we did Purdue, which is, just as bad, I would think. Maybe even worse. Because I think Tyson is the second biggest meat producer. I don't know what the first one is. It could be Purdue. I read a Roca News fucking Instagram thing. But again, shout out Roca News, of course. We love you here on the show. You're pretty much my main media source. I haven't shouted you guys out in a while. So shout out Roca News. Y'all are great. Yes, the CFO, who, surprise, is the founder's great-grandson, or something along those lines. Grandson, something like that. The CFO, guys, you understand that Tyson made $47 billion last year. That is a massive company. It is huge. I just told you it was the second biggest producer of meat in the world. Might be the country. I don't know. Who gives a fuck? They're a huge country, a huge company. You don't need me to tell you that. You already know that they are a massive corporation slaughtering millions of chickens every second. Right now, hundreds of thousands of chickens cooped up, literally, in housing project type situations. Just no room at all to move, filled up with hormones and steroids. Their legs break, these chickens. They walk around, and they're so fat and huge, getting ready to be slaughtered. They have no idea what's going on. Chickens already have no idea what's going on, but they're just walking around like they're in concentration camps, waiting and watching, hoping that maybe they can just escape into a field and be free-range chickens, whatever that is. But these chickens, can we just say, why are we so worried about chickens? Like, I don't love the steroids and the hormones because we eat that, right? We don't, it's way more attractive to get food that is not filled with that shit. At least to me. I think so. It would be nice to be able to take a bite out of something and know that it doesn't take so much time off of your life. It would be nice. Just saying that's very utopian. It's a perfect world. Or it's a world that I can't live right now. When you think of like hunting and that type of thing, that would be nice too. But anyway, this guy, the CFO, he's the CFO of a massive fucking corporation. He's 32 years old. All right? He's 32 years old. I can't imagine he grew up in the boardroom of Tyson. I can't imagine that, right? I mean, his dad's dad, and maybe one more before that. Yeah, it's part of the family. It's what they do, but it's not like a rancher or a farmer or something along those lines. It's not a small company where you're running around the garage, right? Your dad's a mechanic and he owns a shop, and you're running around the garage, and you grow up and you have an interest naturally or whatever. This kid probably had years and years of immense privilege, right? Massive privilege. Wasn't even thinking about what he was going to do. Had no incentive to work for Tyson. Just knew that it was there in the background. His dad, his family probably wanted him to, I don't know, maybe work for Tyson, but maybe they didn't care. It wasn't like, anything like that. So this kid probably had a period in it, and this is just me assuming, okay? I could be totally wrong, but he probably had a period in his life where he's like, let's just go into the family business. And they said, here you go. You get to be the second highest ranking position in the firm. Maybe he worked his way up if, as much as the son of one of the owners can work their way up, right? Without a little boost. Everyone else is using a ladder. You got a helicopter, buddy. Okay, I just want to get that out there. He's the CFO. He is the fucking the second in command, pretty much. He's the financial officer. He is the guy, the person, and he got arrested. And he's 32 years old, and he's making a lot of money. Okay, so you gotta cut him some slack. When you hear what he got arrested for, you have to cut him some slack because, like I said, he's not that old, right? College is a distant memory, but it's not that distant, okay? He graduated 10 years ago, right? If he just got his undergrad, which he probably didn't even need to do, right? He, that's. It's like high school for me, right? I'm 25. It's not a massive memory. It's not a massively distant memory like it will be when I'm 35. That's 20 years, right? And then at 35, it'll be like, okay, college was, 12 years ago, wasn't that far, whatever, right? So for him, college. So this guy, CFO of Tyson, 32 years old, tons of money, son of one of the owners, drunkenly stumbled into somebody's house and fell asleep. He went into somebody's house. He was intoxicated, maybe under the influence. He went ahead and was like, you know what, fuck it. Walked in, laid down, went to sleep. And that was it. I mean, it's very college-esque. It's very frat bro, dorm life. You know everybody in the area, or if you don't, everybody knows you. And, you're the guy. You're the guy. You get fucked up at parties. Everyone knows you do crazy shit. And everyone knows that they're susceptible to Johnny Appleseed walking into their house at 3 a.m., fucking 3 sheets to the wind, and laying down on your couch, sleeping, waking up, eating your food in your pantry, and going back to his dorm, right? That's what you got to be prepared for this guy. That's what he does. And that's what this guy did. That's what the CFO of Tyson, a multi-billion-dollar international corporation, has done. So I want to see his name. John Tyson, a top exec at Tyson Foods, was arrested Sunday for allegedly falling asleep in the wrong home. Tyson Foods is the world's second largest meat producer. It made $47 billion in sales last year and reportedly slaughters 37 million chickens a week. I like that it says reportedly. Like they had to tell us, 37 million a week. We wipe them out by the boatload. Like a vaccine does a virus, baby. We get in there and we tell these fucking chickens, we say, you're going to take these needles in your goddamn, but you're going to eat this special feed. Eat this. It doesn't have anything in it. And then all of a sudden the chicken is like, I have massive power. And they walk and they're huge. And then they realize, fuck, my legs. And they break. And then that's when they grab this chicken who can no longer get around. It's very close to not be, it doesn't know if it'll eat again, the survival instincts are kicking in. It doesn't know how to move, doesn't know what to do, and that's when John Tyson grabs him by those broken little fucking stick legs that they couldn't find a way to make bigger to sustain this animal, and he grabs him and he throws him into a machine that plucks him alive while he's screaming and hollering, and then they fucking chop his head off and turn him into chicken nuggets so fat soccer moms who don't feel like cooking at the end of a long day at the desk can feed to their fat little big-headed close-eyed children after their sporting event because they did a good job. Good job, son. Eat some chicken nuggets. Eat them. Eat these chicken nuggets because you hit an inside-the-park home run today. We're getting chicken nuggets. John is Tyson's chief financial officer, and at age 32, the youngest CFO of a Fortune 500 company. He is also the great-grandson of Tyson's founder and the son of its current chairman. So again, he did this from... He comes from nothing, guys. He comes from nothing. You can't hate on a kid who comes from nothing and is living it up a little bit. You can't hate on him. I mean, the kid... do you think he even got... do you think he even got a Mercedes when he was 16? Damn right he had to drive a BMW for a few years. What do you think? What do you think? He was wearing Gucci off rip? No. You got to start with, Louis Vuitton, and you got to start easy. And his family imputed that in him. They said, hey, you're going to have to work for everything you get in this life. You're not going to be some young, handsome tycoon that, is just going to be able to get drunk and walk into people's homes and sleep and face little to no repercussion. We can't help you with that. You're damn near on your own with this position of youngest CFO on the Fortune 500 whatever the fuck list. Police claim he broke into a stranger's home and fell asleep in her bed. He smelled strongly of alcohol. He faces charges of trespassing and public intoxication. The kid is 32. I kind of can't believe. When did he become CFO? Is this like a new position? Has he been there for a couple of years? This has to be like a brand new thing. Because how the fuck are you that young? Any younger than that, you'd be like, that kid's a CFO? You got to be kidding. I wonder if I can find it. John Tyson. When did he become CFO? It's going to be hard to find. Joined the team in 2019 and serves as executive vice president. So 2019, 2 years ago, he was 30 years old. 3 years ago. Sorry, I'm an idiot. He was 29 years old, and then he gets promoted to CFO. My God. It's like the Disney Channel effect. The kid's young. He's going to go off the rails. He's going to have a drug phase. I talk about the drug phase very often. He's going to have you're giving this kid the world, which he was already born into. He was already born into with a massive advantage. Massive. He was born into one of the biggest fucking companies to have ever been created. Okay? Let's just say that. One of the most massive corporate entities. This kid was born into the family that started it, okay? He has a phenomenal head start. He was given the world from the beginning, and now you expect him to not act like a fucking animal at 32, managing $47 billion in sales, running the single biggest fucking chicken genocide to have ever, or the second biggest maybe. I don't know what the first one is. But this one, it is, you can't be mad at him. You can't be mad at him. I know some of the people that listen to this show, you guys are young. You're around my age. I'm 25. 32, that's 7 years from now. I don't know if at 32 I'd be able to do something like that. I mean, the kid is probably stressed like a motherfucker. It doesn't say what time this happened. I would love to know if it was like in the afternoon, like 12 in the afternoon. He's hammered. He just breaks into some woman's house. He's like, fuck this. I'll buy this bitch's house. Ha, I own it, bitch. Ha. And he just kicks the fucking door in and nobody's there. And he fucking lays down in her bed, in the woman's bed. And he went the fuck to sleep. I wonder if she was there. Like, what if it was at night? Was she sleeping? And he just like went in quietly somehow and just laid in bed next to her. Yeah. And just falls asleep. I don't know. He's going to be fine. Trespassing, public intoxication. That's nothing. That's high school shit. That's, you're going to be okay. And everyone knows he's going to be okay. I'm sure nobody is concerned. There's nobody actually concerned about this. It's good that it's a news article because it's always nice to be reminded that the upper 1% is just able to do anything and everything whenever the fuck they want. It's just like when celebrities go and get their doctorate. They just start going to Harvard. I'm just going to start going to I'm going to get my doctorate in business. I'm going to start going to Harvard. You figured it out. You don't need to go to Harvard. What are you doing? I mean, I get it, right? You want to get smarter, I guess, right? There's no need to. You don't have to. Okay, Taylor Swift, Swizz Beatz, Shaq, all you guys that go out and just say, well, I want to go and get my higher education. For what? For yourself? Okay, fine. Go ahead and do that. I think what it is you reach a certain level of fame, you reach a certain level of wealth that you're bored and you need something to do. I think you need something to do. You need a hobby. You need to start learning something. You got to do. So rich people hobbies are very different from poor people. A poor person will buy a secondhand guitar at a pawn shop and teach themselves how to play it, right? That's what a poor person will do. Or a slightly less poor person may have a little bit of money and start going to the gym, start living a different lifestyle that way. Or maybe they start buying books or getting a library card or something. But a rich person, their form of starting a new hobby or figuring something else out is getting a master's in biology from MIT. One that they'll have very little problems doing because they will donate a wing to the college. So it's not, once they do that, they're not gonna take money from you. They're not gonna do that, right? And then they'll even, because they know how much money that new wing is gonna bring in, they will actually go ahead and pay you to speak at graduation. You'll be there, graduated with all the other intellectuals who actually are that and spent their entire lives trying to get to this point, and you came in with tons of money, tons of recognition, the whole nine, and probably got it handed to you, right? I mean, some of them, I know the Taylor Swift one was an honorary one, which is literally them handing it to her. Like, here you go, honorary. It was from like NYU or some shit. Here you go. Nice. There you go. But the other ones, maybe they did the work. I'm not sure. But I just think that anytime we see celebrities and really rich people doing things that we can't, it's nice. It's important. We have to see that. How are you going to build your brand if you don't have good examples? You got to have good examples. You got to have you have to visualize. Do you not follow me? You have to visualize. You got to see where you're going. If not, then if you don't have a blatant example of excess in front of you all the time, you ain't going nowhere, buddy. You got to be running 1,000 miles an hour if you want to get to where those motherfuckers are at. And you do. And if you don't make it, then you just basically wasted a life. Remember that next time you're taking a nap. Next time you feel like taking a nap, remember that. Remember that Shaq can just pay to get a doctorate. Remember that. All you students, remember that the greatest big man in basketball with endless accolades can go to your exact college and get the highest degree for about less than a third of the work that you're putting in for it, and for actually zero debt, right? Not even a fraction of the debt that you're incurring. And they might name a scholarship after that person, so that now they can pass that on to the next generation of students coming in. But the ones that you graduated with get slighted, right? They're watching you graduate, and they're like, we're going to introduce the Swizz Beats scholarship for fine arts or some shit, and that will be a $6,000 a year scholarship, which will be enough to cover a book here at fucking Oxford, whatever the fuck. And all your classmates are like, what the fuck? You couldn't do that while you couldn't give us some goddamn money, you son of a bitch? You pay your way through this, and now you're paying for the next group? It's just a slap in the goddamn face. Oh, God. Goddamn coffee. Making me belch. But anyway, yeah, it's just, I think it's good. It's good for us. It's good for the visualization. Good to help us see where we can be someday if we're just born with a gift of either physical ability, talent, being able to appeal to a certain group for a period of time and really cashing out on that. Or just being born in the right family. If you can control those things, then your destiny set in stone, baby. Set in stone. So, elections are pretty much wrapping up, right? I guess voting day was Tuesday. I, of course, have no say in any of that. I have no horse in that race, or no donkey or elephant in that race. How stupid is I sitting here in front of you guys don't even know which one is which. Like the elephant is supposed to be Democrats, I think, and the donkey is Republicans. I don't know. But how stupid. I mean, can we get even more archaic? Can we get even more primitive with these fucking... We already picked colors, right? Here's colors, red and blue, and then now we need little animals to figure out what, like, it's dumb, right? It's dumb. That's probably why there's not a lot of choices, right? That's probably why there's only 2 choices, because then all the other ones would have to have a bunch of animals. And now this is a zoo. I mean, Christ, we can't have all this going on. And how did they pick? How do they pick which one? Like, these guys represent donkeys, these guys represent elephants. It's like if Italy had to do that, that would be hard. Italy has like 8 parties. I think that's what my grandmother told me. She still votes for fucking Italians. And they have 8. I mean, how many animals are you going to have? Fucking tiger, a lemur, a fucking squirrel, like... And then you look at the animals, and it's like, if they fought each other, who would win, right? An elephant would probably... I mean, one slap with its fucking... with its trunk, or a charge. If an elephant charges a donkey, I mean, the donkey's done, right? That donkey loses. So then, now it's going to be like, well, we got this party and that one and this one, and these are all the animals. It's like that fucking placemat that you get when you go to a Chinese restaurant and you check what year you were born, and you're like, the year of the ox. And now it's like, okay, we elected the fucking black mamba. Like, I don't know. Would they start using genus and species? But anyway, I don't partake in that shit. Obviously, it's a fucking sham. If you still believe in it, you're a fool. You're probably not listening to my show if you believe in that shit. I mean, hey, go ahead, vote, do what you want, vote. Try and make a difference. There are ways to make differences in your community. I think I support voting locally. I have no stake in this town. I don't care what happens here. In fact, if I could vote for things that would make this place worse, I would. So I don't care about this place. I didn't really vote from where I was from, but I would, if I had to advocate any kind of voting, I would say do it. If you live in a small town, do it locally and try to make a difference there, because that's really, and I would also say don't vote for people unless you really like them. Again, in these small towns, people are close, are tight-knit. You might have gone to high school with one of the guys and you want to support them. That's fine. Even that is better than voting for one of these high-level cocksuckers that tell us the same bullshit every year. The people that don't give a fuck about us, the people that are as far away from the citizens as they possibly can be in status, in financial fucking, in wealth, in the whole thing. Right? They are as far away from the people as humanly possible, and they don't work for the people. They don't work for the people. They work for the companies and corporations and organizations that keep their interests. They just grease each other's palms. So understand that highest level, that's what happens. And at the local level, that happens as well. And my only defense for voting locally for people is that you know them and you have you think that they'll do a good job and you want to help them. And that's fine because you actually have an idea of that person. Even if they were the popular kid in high school that everybody knew, you at least know that. And you have something that you can at least base something off of. Whereas the other candidates, you only ever see them when they have that face on, when they have that salesman demeanor on, when they're on television, when they only have so much time to get a point out. You only see them in that fucking light. Plus, you add in the fact that they are infinitely more wealthy than you and can't see what you see in your community, in your state, in your town, whatever, and in your country. And those jobs are obviously incredibly hard to do, and they're whatever, but there's no incentive to work for us anymore. So voting locally is one thing. Voting for people locally, you have a leg to stand on. But voting for change or voting for questions, that's something I feel like I could get behind. Something that maybe in the future, if I do decide to vote, I would do. But here's the thing. I just don't feel like registering. I feel like they've made it a lot easier now to register to vote, but I just don't feel like sitting down. There's never a point in my day where it's like, you know what? I've never registered to vote. Why don't I go ahead and vote? Why don't I try and do that? There's 1,000 other things happening in my life. That sitting down and signing up to vote is pretty much at the bottom, right? It's pretty much at the bottom. I'd probably say, chopping my big toe off is probably a little higher than that. But isn't it funny how recently the rhetoric is suggesting that Republicans are the ones to save us? Isn't that a little interesting? Joe Rogan said it. Elon Musk is saying it. A lot of people are feeling that way because people are looking at the blue states and the fact that the president is a Democrat and that Congress has gone Democrat until maybe now. People aren't liking what's happening in these, with the Democratic regime, I suppose. So everyone's saying, let's go Republican. Mainly, I don't think it's because it's recency bias is what it is. It is. It's recency bias because the president now is a Dem, and everybody looks at Dems as being the radical far left, but they've changed along the way. And they've changed, but they haven't, because Dems have always been wolves in sheep's clothing. They do the bad shit, right? They all do the bad shit that Republicans are supposedly known for doing. But at least Republicans are outward with it, whereas Dems, they hide it. And now they're worried about, they're the fuel that have been adding to the fire of cancel culture and a lot of weird behavior. They're really eliciting a lot of weird, strange behavior amongst their followers, and they've gotten a little radical with it, and it's not making sense. A lot of it is making people feel weird, and it's not doing the country any favors, according to the voters. So now they want to go and switch over to Republicans, mainly because there's no other choice, right? That's the recency bias. People now suck. Let's go for the other choice. But not that long ago, everybody would shit on Republicans. Republicans were the problem. They were the ones who wanted to stay conservative and key there for censorship, and they don't want the use of They were the ones who were inflicting the safeguards on personal freedoms, right? It used to be the left. It used to be the Dems that wanted, personal freedoms to be accessible. Now there's parts of it that have switched. Mainly the freedom of speech one. The freedom, I feel like people who are Republicans and are in red states, they're the ones who are tired of being taken advantage of by their leaders. Because of the way COVID was handled all over the country and what happened to Trump and, all these things. They're the ones who are, the paradigm kind of shifted where they want the personal freedoms now. They're like, yeah, what do you mean you can't say fuck? I mean, years ago, that was a problem. You couldn't have music. They were the ones who wanted to censor things. Republicans were the ones who wanted to censor things. They were the ones who wanted to spend money on wars. They were and maybe they still do, but they were the ones who wanted to do the bad shit and restrict us and take away our freedoms. And it was the Dems who were for the people. And now that has switched somehow and somewhere along the way. But it's just funny to me that people are like, vote Republican now. We got to vote Republican. It's literally because there isn't another option. It's literally that. Because years ago, Republicans were looked at as fucking get with the times, you old fuck. No one wants to hear about this. All you care about is money. And now it's like still all they care about is money, but they have a more liberal view on personal freedoms. And it's strange. It's a real shift. But again, I say the only reason that is because we only have two options. And for whatever reason, people think that now Republicans are the ones to help us out. And it's ironic. It really is. People are angry that their state that has been one way for such a long time didn't change. People in Rhode Island are so upset that they stayed blue. Like, what do you think? What do you think? People are just going to shift? I mean, they're just. I remember seeing a map of voting years, like, I don't know, might have been hundreds of years ago. And like 1800s or some shit. And Texas was blue. Texas was blue. I remember sitting watching the election with John Larkin, and I think it was Biden Trump. Yeah, that's what it was. And there was a point where Texas was actually blue, and he was like, "Holy fuck, they're blue. That's wild." But I don't know. It's literally, most people are a mix. Most people want personal freedoms, but they also want to have some money. They also people. These concepts aren't cut and dry, and what politics tries to do is to make it cut and dry because they need fuel for this voting fucking thing. They need to find a way to justify their leadership. I convinced these people to vote for me to lead them. And if you guys don't like it, too bad, because I'm in charge of leading you as well. You follow what I'm saying? You get the power of both sides, but it's because one side liked you a little bit more. A lot more, in some cases. And these are really, I mean, the job is impossible. It's some of the hardest shit to do. Obviously, there are issues that are pressing and whatever. Countries need to be run somehow the way we've created it, right? We can't start over. It's not going to happen until the bombs drop, and then everyone tries to start over and whatever. That's really the only thing that's going to happen, the Great Reset. And until then, this is what we got to work with. But just understand that most people, when thinking about these topics, when having conversations with their friends about these topics, things like immigration, the environment, inflation, the price of money in America, fucking racism and sexism and all these other isms, all these things that are really, really intricate ideas where there's tons of new information, some of it real, some of it fake. You have to find a way to maneuver through it. It's tough, right? It's tough to stick to a belief, but that's what happens. People stick to a belief. They get evidence that the belief is flawed or there's something here, and they ignore it. They just ignore it. They just say, well, it's what I believe. I believe it, so you can't, and that's what it is. People hide behind that word belief. It's my belief. I believe in it, so you can't attack me for it. Yeah, sure, you're right. But I can point out the flaws. I can point out the problems in it, right? It's like saying I believe in, I don't know, just on a broad scale. I believe in our politicians. It's the same shit. You can't tell me that there aren't crooked politicians spewing bullshit, right? You can't tell me that. You can't tell. You believe in all of them? Yep, I believe in all. I believe in the system. I believe in everything. I mean, if you're one of those people, I mean, put a gun in your mouth, really. It's just, you've just blissfully become ignorant to all that shit. But they'll, the elections will be done soon. If they're not already done, they're probably wrapping up. They're still counting in some places to find out what's going to happen. And I'm sure when you wake up the day after everything is counted, nothing will have changed. There'll still be starving people all over the planet. Also in your country, in your neighborhood, there's going to be starving people walking around still. There's going to be people who can't afford to get a broken limb fixed, so they have to duct tape it and let it grow back and morph into itself and have it be all fucked up for the rest of their lives. There will still be people who are wrongfully imprisoned for minimal crimes because there's a lot of money to be made in that as well. And the show goes on, people. The show goes the fuck on. Yeah, I guess that's a good place to end today. I had some other stuff I wanted to talk about, but fuck it. That sounds like a good place to end. First episode with the new setup. Yeah. Very nice. I like this setup because it's nice for writing. Normally I would leave my apartment to write. But now I have a nice desk. I can sit here. I feel like I could spend hours at this fucking thing. So I'm happy to have this. I hope it's going to be transferable to my next place that I move. I think about that very often. Because New York, I'm not going to get a place as big as this, right? I'm not going to have the money to do that. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. I just need to downsize a little bit, figure out a way to keep doing this podcast, and this is nice. This is small. This is like, this space is good. I feel like it won't take up a ton in wherever I move to. However, places are very tiny there. That's what I hear. But maybe I'll go somewhere else. Who the fuck knows, guys? You got to keep your options open in this motherfucking life. So, Dates, we got hopefully Wilton, Maine tomorrow. Nobody's going to that. Nobody I know, of course. And then next Friday, I'm doing Revival Brewery in Providence, Rhode Island. I was saying Pawtucket, Rhode Island last time. I even drove to the wrong brewery. I was a fuck up. I fucked it all up. But yes, Revival Brewery next week, Friday. That's going to be fun. And that's it, guys. I'm done talking to you motherfuckers. I'll see you on Monday. Peace.
Me again. Follow the show. Subscribe on the YouTube. Buy me a coffee. Use the links. Bye-bye.